Hey guys, my name's Adam and welcome back to the channel Beating Long COVID. Today we're going to talk about a subject that I've been shying away from a little bit because it brings so much negative memories, I guess, back from my first year of symptoms. But before we talk about that, I have been working on a couple of new projects. I am going to be launching a Spotify podcast this week, as well as my new website, beatinglongcovid.com. So stick around to the end of the video to find out more details about those two new projects. So let's get right into it. Today's topic, DPDR, or depersonalization, derealization. This was one of my worst symptoms, coupled with the constant fight or flight and panic. DPDR is known as the body not feeling right, I guess, not feeling real, oneself not feeling real, and also those surroundings around you not feeling real. So it's a very serious condition. And I found myself wrestling with this for probably 9 to 12 months. So the first year basically of my long haul, DPDR was constant. And the best way I can describe my lived experience is I just didn't feel real. I felt like I was living out a script of a movie, and everything around me felt like I was watching life happen and I was watching this movie, but it wasn't my life. And also, those folks around me, my family and friends, didn't feel real. I had no connection to them, no emotions, no happiness, joy, love, sadness, nothing. And this went on for a long time. And I would catch myself staring out the window for 30 minutes on end. And at the end of that, I would go, oh my gosh, like I was just doing that. Like it was almost surreal. And so much of my life was not real at that point. And doing some research for this video, a lot of people are struggling with this. And I am receiving tons of messages and comments on YouTube and Facebook with others with long haul who are struggling with this, who, like me, had no symptoms of DPDR before they got COVID. So this is definitely new to them. It was new to me, and it was just so tough. And I see and I hear your struggles. And in the video, we'll talk a little bit about what you can do and what I did to combat this. And we'll go through that, and I'll give you some final thoughts at the end of this video. But just know what you're experiencing is real. You are not going crazy. And that's really what I thought I was going crazy during this video. So please stick around and hear me out. Listen to my story. See if it resonates with what you're feeling. And I know a lot of you are feeling this because I have reached out. You guys have reached out to me and I've reached back out to you. So let's get into a few things. And what brought on this video is that I've received a couple of messages, maybe 3 or 4, with folks with long haul who are struggling with this, and they may have seen me talk about it in my interview with Raelan, or even my long COVID story videos, part 1 and 2. I'll link those 3 videos in the description. If you hadn't heard them yet, they're a great watch. But they found my channel because of these, and specifically because of the video interview I did with Raelan, where I talk about my DPDR a little bit. So we'll talk a little bit more in detail about this. This request goes out to over a year now, and I'm sorry it took so long to make this video, but really for me, it's hard to relive this piece. As you guys know who are going through it right now, how hard it can be. Some of you tell me, Jesus Christ, if I could get past this, I'd be all right. Well, I know how you feel because it was the exact same experience for me. So we talked a little bit about my lived experience and what it felt like for me. You might resonate with that. You might have a different version of DPDR, but I'm just letting you know what I dealt with. And let's talk about some medications. Let's talk about some supplements. Let's talk about some other things that I used to get through this. So in terms of medication, you guys know that I use Wellbutrin and Ativan because I just didn't know what was going on with my body. And like a lot of you who have been gaslit by doctors and told that this is either depression or anxiety. So I tried them. I used Wellbutrin and Ativan to kind of calm down the constant panic attacks and the adrenaline surges, as well as the Wellbutrin was used for increasing dopamine. So I just didn't have any. That's the way it felt, at least to me. So Both of those were helpful for me in my journey. Supplements I was taking fish oil, turmeric, vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, B complex vitamins. So all of these were the supplements as well that I was taking at the time. What I really think can help, and I think that DPDR and the panic and all that I was experiencing can be related down to inflammation. And I took part in a study here in Canada for brain inflammation in long haulers. And I did a PET scan and the brain inflammation was confirmed. So reducing that inflammation was key for me to reduce my DPDR and those constant panic attacks and adrenaline surges. So what I did, I went on a low inflammation diet. And you can research online yourself to kind of see what that's all about and what it entails. But for me, I went on a ketogenic diet because I knew that. I had lost 75 pounds before with that diet. I knew that it worked for me. And I actually reintroduced it back in January of this year. And I lost 15 pounds in about a week. So that can tell you how much inflammation I was carrying. Like 15 pounds of water and crap and all sorts of bad stuff came off my body that fast. This diet is great. You got to stay away from sugars and refined carbohydrates and just eat meat, healthy fats, and green vegetables. That's really what I'm doing right now. And I have felt an uptick in my baseline since I've been doing that diet again. So research a low inflammation diet, research a keto diet if you haven't been on one before, and definitely try that out and see. That can also be paired with fasting. And we've talked about fasting before. Tom Bunker's group on Facebook. There's some great folks in there with incredible patient-lived experiences on intermittent fasting as well as prolonged fasts. So I've started a prolonged fast. I'm going to try a 48-hour fast today, starting last night. So here we go. Let's see how it goes. So reducing inflammation by your diet. There's also some other things that I've done to reduce inflammation. I have used grounding, the practice of grounding. So anything to do with the outside, get your feet, bare feet, no socks, out in the grass, do walks in your backyard, trail walks, whatever you can do, get those feet on the ground. Take your meditations outside. If you're meditating inside, go in shorts and sit cross-legged in the ground, on the grass, and do your meditation. Put your headphones in that aren't Bluetooth and just listen to a guided meditation for 10 minutes and just see if it can help you. Now, if you're like me and it's the winter time, why don't you try out a grounding mat or a grounding bed sheet or pillowcase? Those are definitely helpful during those cold winter months. The next thing would be breath work. Breath work helped me calm my nervous system down. And I think the DPDR is the brain's way of protecting itself from the trauma that you're going through. And I read that very early on and I haven't thought about it since. I kind of got better from this, but really the brain is trying to protect you and your mind from going, oh my gosh, this is actually happening to me. So that's kind of where the disassociation comes from and these feelings, I think. And again, there is that brain inflammation there. So explore anything to do with reducing inflammation. Breath work is helpful. There's an app called Breathwork, and they have long COVID breaths on there. So I took part every day in just these 3 morning, afternoon, and night long COVID breaths until I realized this is actually helping me. I also did Wim Hof breathing. But now my schedule on breath work is over 20 different exercises long, and I get notifications daily to just take a break and do my breathing depending on what's happening inside of me and what I'm feeling, what my body's telling me. So definitely look breath work up. The next one is meditation. So meditation is going to help you calm the nervous system down. It's going to help your body regulate itself. And again, I tried this for the first few months and it was just so hard to do. And it was all new to me. Meditation was new, grounding was new, but I couldn't do it until somebody told me about Calm and other meditation apps where you can actually put your headphones in and you can listen to a guided meditation where you can just kind of tune out, focus on your breath, and just try and slow the heart rate down and just get out of your own head and think about your breathing and just try and calm that body down. Again, reducing inflammation, you got to keep the body calm, you got to keep the nervous system calm. So I went from the Calm app to an app I've talked about before, which is called Waking Up. And Waking Up is a little bit of a more advanced, I guess, meditation app because it talks a lot about theory, also practice, but they do have a beginner's course where they do daily meditations, and then they have another session that's based on theory of why you're doing what you're doing and how you can do it better, which was so helpful for me. And you just follow that through for whatever it is, 20 or 30 days, and by the end of it you have this whole new understanding of meditation and why you're doing it, and why, focusing on the breath is important, or grounding yourself is important, or taking the time to do this is important. So definitely look into meditation if you're not doing that yet for DPDR. The final thing that I'll talk about is time. And I know nobody wants to hear that, but it's such a common denominator in these recovery stories. You have to give yourself time to let the body and brain heal. And I know it's hard to think about that, but wherever you are in your journey, whether you're just starting, whether you're 6 months in, a year, 3 years in, your body needs time to heal. And the things that I generally talk about in my videos is a way to allow your body some space. And these things are good things that you can do for yourself to give your body that time to heal. I didn't even know, when I was going through the first year, I thought it was going to be a permanent thing, but it wasn't. I started to get better at month 11, 12, and that's when I started making these videos, because I promised I would give back to the community when, or if I ever did get better. So you got to give yourself that time. Some final thoughts on life again. I mean, the first thing I want you to know is you're not crazy. You are not crazy. This is real, and it's happening for a reason. I thought for months that I was going crazy and I was developing all these mental health disorders, but I didn't have them before COVID. So we have to think about that. And I know it's hard to think about when you have brain fog or panic, or you're not feeling yourself, you have this DPDR, but you're not going crazy, and there is a way through this. Get as much information on DPDR or whatever symptoms you're experiencing as possible, to a point. Now, we've all spent time on Facebook groups, Twitter, and Reddit reading symptoms that are, and from folks who have symptoms that are very similar to ours. But you gotta just read the good stuff, because there's a lot of negative stuff in there that I've seen lately in Reddit, and you just gotta try and stay away from that, because there are stories like mine and Rob's and Kyle's where people have got better. And find yourself on the subreddit, the Long Haulers Recovery subreddit, because you can't just keep reading the doom and gloom. Get your information, do your research, but what's also very helpful is reading those recovery stories. And keep in mind, a lot of us who've recovered have either left those subreddits or groups, or just aren't active in them anymore. So keep that in mind. Please just remember that. If I can recover, you can. I didn't think I was ever going to make it out of this. I wasn't a person to do grounding or meditation or, any of this stuff or breath work. But you know what? It helped and it worked. And the supplements and diets that I tried also worked. So if I can get better, you can. You just have to set your mind to it. You have to try it. If something doesn't work, and I've talked about that before, if it doesn't work for you because it worked for me, it doesn't mean you don't move on to the next thing. Try the next thing and see if that works for you. Give it some time. It's not going to happen one day. You're not going to even get into ketosis within 3 to 5 days. So give yourself a week. See what happens, and then go from there. Trust your brain that it can heal. Trust your body that it can heal. A lot of us are so hard on ourselves. I remember laying in bed daily and reading over my journal from a week ago and going, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. Reading all these terrible things online. You have to trust your body. You have to trust your brain. It's doing what it needs to do for you to heal. A lot of the DPDR that I had, I think, was just a protection mechanism by my brain to kind of take me out of the moment that I was living in, where it was just constant pain and constant anxiety and just the nervous system being dysregulated. And I just ended up not feeling real, and people around me didn't feel real. But the body eventually did heal, and it doesn't snap. It doesn't just happen. It happened progressively in increments of 0.5% or 1% week over week, till I started implementing things like, meditation and grounding and fasting, and I was consistent with these things and tracking them, that's when things started to get better, percentage wise, week over week, 5%, etc. So please keep trying these things. I hope this video helps everyone. I told you at the start of the video, we talk a little bit about the projects I've been working on. So the podcast, the aim of that is, I have seen a couple other people start these podcasts, and I really like and I enjoy listening to them personally. I looked into it a little bit, and they're a lot easier to record than these videos because you're just doing audio, and you can do it from your phone. So there's not a whole lot of video editing in Premiere Pro. There's not a whole lot of setup and trimming and things like that. So I think for me, on a weekly basis, to connect with you guys more, it will be a great tool for me because, hey, at night, once the kids have gone to bed, I'm able to just pop on the mic and talk to you guys about a weekly subject. So we'll be talking about all sorts of different things. You can send in questions. We can do that. And I'll also be looking to interview other folks who have recovered and things that they've done to improve their long COVID and get over it and get past this. So there's that as the first project. The second one we talked about a little bit in a post before, but I've been creating a website. So a lot of you have been asking me for a website where I can do blog articles, and that's a text version so you can read it and share it. So we're going to start, it started as this blog, but it's turned into a website where I'm going to offer coaching and contact information for me because people are always looking how to contact me. So this will be a way for me to have an inbox just where I can talk to you, the viewers, about your long COVID struggles. So I'm excited about that. We will be offering coaching. I've been wrestling with that decision since September. I've had it in my mind. People have been asking me since back then whether or not I would do online coaching or not. If you cannot afford the cost, that should never be a barrier to entry. I'm just trying to cover the cost of my Premiere Pro editing software and all this other stuff that I've been doing. So I'd be happy with that, the website cost and stuff. So if you can't afford it, there is going to be a scholarship option. Definitely check that out. But if you can, it'd be great to support me in the channel so that I can continue to make these videos, podcasts, and blog content. So there's that. We're going to do a video about the website this week. I'm actually off for 5 days, and I am just doing all sorts of stuff. I have been getting back to painting, super calming. So I've been doing these. I used to find these super helpful, and I haven't done them in a long time, but it's my Bob Ross paintings. So calming. And I've also been doing all my meditation, grounding, and stuff that I got away from. So I had to take some vacation because everything resets April 1st. So I'm going to be doing all sorts of breath work. I'm creating this website, developing some podcasts, doing grounding, all those things. So I'm going to be able to make a couple more videos for you guys this week. I look forward to it. And as always, stay healthy and be well.